Shalom. This is Mary Omni from the World Government House of King David, Holy Covenant Constitutional Enforcer. I'm the woman of Galatians 4:4 and the woman of Revelations 12. Please refer to your Bible. And all I ask you to do is consider that I am who I say I am. I'm the mother of the New Jerusalem, and I'm the mother that gave birth to newborn King Emmanuel, February the 15th, 2011. This is a Republic notice that all constitutional Black Americans are married and cannot divorce. This is a Republic notice that all constitutional Black Americans are married and cannot divorce. Why? Because they are Judaic, they are the namesake, and God ensures his legacy and his lineage by the marriage of Judah to Judah, and by them not being able to divorce. It is written in Akashic records, and is written in a cosmic, and is written in the Constitution of America, which is the Holy Covenant that's hidden in eyes wide shut, plain sight. Black Americans cannot divorce. They can separate. There's no such thing as a single Black American woman. There's no such thing as a constitutional, let me say a constitutional single Black American woman. There's no such thing as a covenant. Constitutional covenant. Learn them words. Constitutional covenant. Put them in your vernacular. Constitutional covenant. Because the Constitution is the covenant. It's a blood contract of sacred blood. And we're not only married in it, we're married to the contract. We married to the soil. Holy blood is in the soil of North America. Holy blood is in the soil of North America. And the Most High Fort Knoxed his people in this contract and supremed them in this contract using Ephraim. Ephraim, his holy called, his holy consenters. Black Americans, constitutional Black Americans, are non-consenters, because 3/5 couldn't even consent to go into the Constitution. And then when they became legal citizens, they had to inherit their citizenship. So it's a non-consented, inherited 14th Amendment. And that's how you know that Black constitutional citizens are married to each other. They both inherited constitutional non-consent legal jurisdiction to produce all persons born. Don't ever buy this nonsense about marriage is not in a constitution. It doesn't have to use the word marriage, because Constitution is the highest document in America. And if you ain't married there, then that means that all your other BS documents, you ain't married nowhere. If Blacks ain't married and they the constitutional citizens to produce all persons born, then that means that you definitely can't count yourself, if you're calling yourself in a corporate doctrine marriage, as married. Because first of all, you don't have the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is in the Constitution. And the Constitution, once Blacks became citizens, non-consent legality existed in the Constitution. That made the whole Constitution jurisdiction change from legal consent jurisdiction to legal non-consent jurisdiction to Fort Knox. Protect that Constitution, protect the land, the 50 states, the marriage, the assets, the wealth, the Fort Knox, the royal Judasian constitutional Black infant. And that meant that anybody coming in here later after 1868 would only be squatters, and they would make up something to try to make them look like they was more than they was. Because if you have a naturalization ceremony, you having a non-consented ceremony, because the naturalization is part of the 14th Amendment, and that's non-consented. So whatever naturalization you having is some kind of squatted dung contract naturalization. It has no constitutionality, because naturalization is with the 14th, and it's been non-consented since 1868 and sealed in 1870 by the 15th Amendment, which is the New Jerusalem Wall, the black man's vote that was left to him by the Buffalo Soldiers. Therefore, black Americans, constitutional black Americans, are married to each other to produce all persons born. Are married to each other to produce all persons born. And if you think because a man don't want to be married or a woman don't want to be married, that's going to convince God to throw away his sacred lineage, you're crazy. You're crazy. He said it's so, and it is. It is. You always want to second guess the Most High. He didn't give you the right woman. He didn't give you the right man, and all this old nonsense. Black Americans are married to black Americans through the constitutional holy covenant to produce all persons born. Now, of course, people who are interested in stealing all your wealth, all your heritage, all your birthrights will say, well, slavery was a long time ago. But they wanted that slave remedy called the 14th that just came 3 years after. They all scrambling to claim that while they claim slavery was a long time ago. What, 3 years difference? And you scrambling to grab a slave remedy that was written for black people? And it's not yours by the proof of non-consent, because black people couldn't consent to it, so they inherited. God, people, namesake inherit, they don't consent. That's how we know it don't belong to you. Plus, it's non-consented, so it means it can't belong to you because it's sealed. He cut off the oblation and sacrifice. That was part of the prophecy of Daniel. The oblation and sacrifice was cut off of God's people in 1868. That means he didn't sacrifice his people no more for you. He cut off the sacrifice and started building the New Jerusalem. The 13th and 14th and 15th is symbolic of the New Zion and the New Jerusalem. That is the city of Zion. That is the Most High namesake people. And they are married to each other because God's namesake is a precious lineage. And it's not thrown around willy-nilly because Babylon wants it to be, or blacks want to follow Babylon. The blacks is even protected against themselves because blacks suffer from a lot of Stockholm Syndrome. But Stockholm Syndrome is not in the Constitution because it made us non-consenters to Stockholm Syndrome. That means we can't feel sorry for nobody other than ourselves, in truth. Now, when we look at this, we can say that Whitney and Bobby Brown was never divorced. Even though a whole bunch of people want them to be, they was never divorced. And I like the way Bobby Brown handled it when he left the funeral rather than cause a ruckus. But that's her husband. I don't like the fact that they propped up the bodyguard actor instead of her real life husband that she committed to the world in front of. She saw something in him. So who are we to second guess it? She saw something in him. So what, it deteriorate? They still met for lunch and dinner, but I'm saying there's a lot of judgment of black Judasian males like Bobby Brown. It's a lot of judgment, but remember, he's the 15th Jerusalem Wall. And that was Whitney Houston's husband. And therefore, he cannot be overlooked by any contractor that is benefiting from Whitney estate. And he needs to get on the ball to protect him and his daughter and Whitney Houston estate from all these debt contractors, because he's a non-consenter and they didn't consent to any debt contracts. From what I know, Bobby Brown did not make any blood contracts with Babylon. In other words, all his women and children are constitutional citizens as far as I know. And I'm only just speaking of what I know. I could be wrong on that. But if he is still within covenant standing, then he has rights to look into all these people who trying to say Whitney owe her, and to tell them, no, you on her 14th, you on my 14th, you on my land rights, my birthrights. We don't owe you a doggone thing because we're not consenting to any contracts. You consented to steal and theft from us by the theft of claiming a slave remedy in this country to squab for your American dream. And further, this, when you look at this, your so-called parents that divorced never did divorce. Smokey Robinson and Claudette is not divorced. Beyonce mother and father is not divorced. The constitutional black woman is the most married woman in America. She cannot have bastard children. Her children are all persons born in a holy covenant. And if you want to call a black baby illegitimate, that's because you know you are. You know you are. Here you are trying to steal his birthrights and call him illegitimate. What a fraud. Hell is waiting for you. And the abyss is right there outside the Jerusalem wall with a U.S. corporation mule that you contract with, and you're crapped out as dung for the abyss. Because the U.S. corporation is the 1871 mule King Yahshua rode on to celebrate the building of the New Jerusalem. The building of the New Jerusalem was finished in 2009. And that was from 1526 to 2009, 483 years. And that's when President Obama walked in the White House with 2 Judasian women supremacy clause. So blacks cannot divorce. The Most High only allows them separation, and that's because they don't want them to destroy soul energy if they shouldn't be together. The Shekinah of black men in the 60s was when he was understanding his soul connection to black women. He produced all kind of music. When he forgot that soul connection to black women, his soul music and his soul energy went kind of out the window, and therefore we have to listen to the oldies because that's real progressive music. The rest is recessive because it doesn't have the Shekinah in it. They're still separated, and it means their frequency is low. And so the next tape is interracial marriages and Malachi cutoffs. This is Mary Omni from the House of King David. Shalom.